We're finally back where it all started. To close out this look back on Doom Eternal in the wake of the trailer release for Doom: The Dark Ages, I'm gonna take a brief moment to have an honest talk about the topic that got my channel started in the first place. This little prick right here, the Marauder. First, I'll address some things I said in that original video that I would say differently if I were to do it today. Not that I think he's actually bad now, no, I still love the guy, but it's been 4 years and my feelings have evolved. I was completely new at this video stuff back then, and it took me a few years and a lot of mistakes to get my handle on things and be a little more elegant. And real quick, I'm gonna pitch my merch. I have a new t-shirt designed by the director of Mullet Mad Jack. It's the Mayo Mad Jack t-shirt, check it out if you want. So right off the bat, I wouldn't mention the rear-facing BFG thing so casually as if that were some amazing strategy. It's really not an answer to the fact that you can't just blast him with the BFG. I understand people weren't looking for interesting strategies, they just wanted to be able to press the delete button and make him go away, but the game wouldn't let them. And it's because Doom Eternal wants you to actually learn how to fight. This isn't just the case with the Marauder, but most super heavy demons. So I think him not being deletable with the BFG fits a general theme, and I like that he's the guy you have to fight because the Marauders are built up as these incredible warriors that fought at your side before the fall of Argent D'Nur. And I also wouldn't call SkillUp's incorrect statement about the Marauder dog a lie like I did. He stated that the dog comes out to punish you if you aren't engaging the Marauder, and yes, that is wrong, but it's not a lie, because that would mean he knew it was wrong, and he didn't. He didn't understand why the dog was coming out, and while we all know that the dog is summoned by you shooting the Marauder's shield, we also know the Marauder will summon the dog when blocking friendly fire. So it's very likely SkillUp and many other people were running away from the Marauder, and he blocks friendly fire, summons the dog, and now you're thinking he's doing this because of your own inaction. It's a mistake, one caused by not having an understanding of the enemy, and caused by a glitch in the Marauder that causes the dog to summon from friendly fire. The mecha zombies were taken out of the first Marauder encounter specifically to avoid this kind of confusion, and give new players more time to just focus on what the Marauder is doing, without him summoning random dogs and bringing up his shield whenever another demon shoots in his direction. That is the one area that I agree with the Marauder haters on. He's buggy. He shouldn't bring up his shield when blocking enemy projectiles. It makes the shield feel entirely too random, and it's wildly confusing when you're trying to figure him out the first time. When the game first came out, there was a lot more buggy about the Marauder. He would lock up and stand there, or he just wouldn't attack. And for the longest time we dealt with him not staggering on staircases. He's a lot better now, he's still not perfect, but most people saw him in those early days, and first impressions matter. I don't blame anyone for not being convinced the Marauder is a fun enemy if they were repeatedly met with bugginess when they played. But I will say the unpredictability of Marauders is something I tend to enjoy. Sometimes you're trying to bait their attack to punish, they'll be running up to you, and right when you think they're gonna attack, they stop, throw an axe at you, dash to the side, and then run at you. And I don't know, it just keeps me on my toes. I feel like I'm fighting another player and not just a demon AI. I like it. Even the friendly fire bug, which I'd be in favor of fixing at this point, is something that adds to the chaos of the fight. He's running at you and you think you're gonna counter him, but he stops to block an imp fireball and now he's calling a dog. Your whole plan is screwed and now you have to adapt. I think it's fun. And now I can use my microwave beam tech to get a hot dog ballista shot. All that being said, I absolutely understand why some dedicated players and speedrunners have come to despise the Marauder, because he's inconsistent and buggy, and when he's not behaving, then you end up waiting around for him to do what you want him to do, which is flash green. When you're a Doom Eternal god that can beat the whole game in 5 seconds, yes, I'm sure dealing with a misbehaving Marauder for the 10,000th time is not fun anymore. I get that. I'm not saying they're wrong to feel that way. They're playing the game to be as fast as humanly possible. I don't play that way though. Even now when I see a Marauder, I get excited. I say, okay, here we go, let's dance. And then I try to kill him in different ways. Sometimes I go for the very difficult full auto 1-cycle kill. Sometimes I do 2 quick combos and then a ballista feet falter. Sometimes I just mess with him and do constant microwave beam falters and ballista until he can't take it anymore. I make my own fun with the Marauder at this point because I don't care so much about being the most consistent player and making everything about speed and DPS. People say Marauders kill the pacing of Doom Eternal, and I still just don't agree. I don't think having defensive enemies or defensive bosses is inherently a bad thing just because it's a Doom game. I don't think waiting for 2 seconds to get a high damage punish is breaking the game's pace, especially when there are other things to be doing like dealing with other demons and other ways to damage the Marauder in the meantime. Do I want to see an entire Doom game made up of enemies that play like the Marauder? No, I don't. But they're a fun little variation to add to the mix here and there, and you can have a lot of fun with them. If you dislike the change of pace with Marauder encounters, fine, people like different things. But what I opposed in that first video was the screaming and crying over him as people were shooting him point blank with a rocket launcher. Respectable reviewers saying he literally ruins the game. It was exaggerated to the point of absurdity, there was a lot of misinformation going around, and I just wanted to say something about it because I knew that I couldn't have been the only person that enjoyed fighting him. And judging by the reaction to that video, a video I still get comments on regularly to this day, there's a lot of people who agree. I do, however, think that the Armored Baron from the second DLC is a much better approach for this sort of red light, green light enemy design, where he's an oppressive force that can't be slowed down unless you break his charging mace, but you can also damage his armor enough to break it, and if your DPS is good, you can kill him in a single combo. And the armor takes extra damage from the plasma rifle, which is a good way to get people pulling out an underused gun. If id Software does more gimmick enemies, I hope they'll make them more dynamic like this. One thing I don't think I ever weighed in on is the Ice Bomb Strat. In the early months of Doom Eternal, someone found an exploit where you could toss an ice bomb over the Marauder's head and he would follow it so he didn't get frozen from the back, and this allowed you to wail on him and delete him really fast. Also deleted really fast was this strategy because id Software did not like it being in the game. Speedrunners who hate dealing with a Marauder, of course, are still not happy this happened, and for a long time they downpatched the game to be able to use it. I don't know if they still do that, I haven't kept up with the scene over the years. And yeah, on one hand it would be cool if we were still able to do that trick, it's a cool trick, but I completely understand why it had to go. And it needing to go was entirely dependent on when it was found. Because, look, the game was brand new, tens of thousands of players were looking up help on how to beat the Marauder because they're having a hard time. And if you designed this game, do you really want everyone finding some stupidly simple, easily performed bug to bypass these significant encounters? Of course you don't, so it had to go. It was easily invalidating a part of the gameplay experience the designers saw as crucial to the campaign. Instead, people would have to figure out the fight, learn the behaviors, and find other fun strategies online of how to actually engage with him in smart ways. But this is all because it was the first few months. Imagine if the Ice Bomb Strat had been found in January 2022, almost 2 years after launch. It would have still have been something they could have patched out at that point, but would they really care so much? Everyone's already had their fun, they know how to fight the Marauder, so if some easy bug is found, just laugh it off and let it be, right? I'll bet that's what would have happened. It's funny how the severity of a bug can largely be dependent on when it's discovered. Imagine if punch swapping had been discovered day one, that probably would have been patched out really quick. But now it's like, who cares, punch swap if you want to, I guess. The funny thing is, there's now an entire community of people looking for broken stuff, so when Doom the Dark Ages comes out, it's gonna be under a microscope. I'm getting off topic, I guess. What was this even about? What else can I comment on? How about the dizzy symbols and the sound effect added in the second DLC? I don't mind the sound effect when he gets dizzy, but I know a lot of people hate it. It should be an option in the sound menu. But the dizzy symbols, I think they're fine. And from the sound of it, they were needed. I remember Hugo talking about how he would watch streams of people playing for their first time, good FPS players, and when they countered the Marauder's attack, they would just stand there and not follow up, or they'd run away. So id Software determined they needed to better communicate that he was dizzy. I get it. I don't think it hurts the game at all, but the sound, yeah, it should be optional. I do love the sound when it's used for the hammer smash. That thing is epic and satisfying. PC modders have gone on to do some pretty fun things with Marauder encounters. Getting locked in a hallway with a Marauder and a Bloodmaker, that's some pressure right there. And the master levels have shown us some great Marauder encounters too. There's a secret 5 Marauder fight in the World Spear master level that's really crazy. You get locked in with a Marauder in a really small room. There's the Marauder in the fog room in Super Gore Nest. Basically, I think Marauders are still fun as long as you don't overuse them. Yes, they are a different kind of flow than most enemies, but it doesn't feel like it's suddenly a totally different game like some people exaggerate. I understand the hate on a high level, especially due to inconsistency and bugs, but I'll go to my grave saying the Marauder is a fun addition to the Doom Eternal experience, the game is better with his inclusion, and how much fun you have with him once you understand him is up to you. Now we have Doom the Dark Ages coming up, and it takes place in the pre-Doom 2016 times, when the Slayer was at the top of the Sentinel army, meaning Marauders have not been corrupted by the Makers yet. I think we're gonna have Marauders at our side, and that could be really awesome to see. So many possibilities. I owe so much to the Marauder at this point. That video blew up and made this channel an important part of my life. At a time when my employment was suffering due to a global shutdown, and YouTube really got me through some tough times. Now YouTube is still something I love doing, something that still provides for me, something that has given me opportunities to make friends, form new perspectives, try new games, and ultimately get some official work in the industry doing QA and gameplay consulting on some awesome titles. All because of the Marauder. Would my channel have become something if the Marauder controversy had never happened? I don't know. I probably still would have done some weapon strategy videos, tech stuff, guides. I probably would have worked my way into the community regardless, like Alston, Buckyo, Hump, Toyota, Bloodshot, Devo, Arrhythmia, Maynard, Siler. But it wouldn't have been the same, and I may not have had that massive drive to diversify my channel and do variety reviews and opinion pieces and interviews and all that. So if you love me, if you hate me, you can blame the Marauder. This is the last of this group of Doom Eternal videos sparked by the Dark Ages reveal. I'm gonna retire the topic again unless something else needs to be said or I get the itch to do it. Check out the rest of my stuff or check back when the new game comes out. Later.